just recording the session. Okay, I forgot to record it. Okay, so application virtualization helps a user to have remote access of an application from a server. The server stores all personal information and other characteristics of the application, but can still run on a local workstation through the internet. Example of this would be a user who needs to run two different versions of the same software. Technologies that use application virtualization are hosted applications and packaged applications. So see, okay, so talking about application virtualization, it is that technology, okay, which will allow the user to access and use an application from a separate computer. So your application is your application resides on some other computer, okay, but when you access that application, it will appear on your system, and it will give you an idea that it is running on your system, but no, okay, it's somewhere else. Okay, it's somewhere else, it's residing in a remote system, but it will give an idea to the user that it is residing on the user's system, local workstation. Okay, so it is that technology which will allow the user to access and use an application from a separate computer than the one on which the application is installed. Okay, so using application virtualization software, the IT administrators can set up remote applications on a server, okay, and then deliver the application to an end user computer. Okay, so for the user, the experience of the application, okay, the virtualized application is the same as the installed application on the physical machine. So you will not feel like you are using an application which is on some other system. You will feel like just like other applications which are installed on your system, this application is also in your system. So you will not feel any difference, but it is actually in some other system. Okay, so how it works actually? So the most common way to virtualize applications is server-based approach. Okay, where the IT administrator will implement a remote application on the server. Okay, servers, they are always inside the organization's data center, right? So every organization has their own data center, which data centers are responsible for maintaining the servers, physical servers. Okay, so in those physical servers, data will implement a remote application, okay, on that server of the data center, or maybe via a hosting service. The IT admin will then use the application virtualization software to deliver the applications to a user desktop or to some other connected devices. Okay, the user can now access and use the application as though it was locally installed on their own machine. Okay, and the user's action are conveyed back to the server to be executed. Okay, so if the user is giving any instruction to the application, that is again carried forward to that particular server on which the actual application resides, and accordingly what to say the conversation or the communication takes place. Okay, like that. So is it clear? Application virtualization, I have not given the benefits. Okay, I have not given the benefits or disadvantages of any of these types of virtualization because that is your work. Okay, once you understand these types of virtualization, you will find out the advantages and disadvantages of these various types of virtualization, and you will submit me, okay, as an assignment. That I'll tell you when to do it. Okay, so I have not added the benefits or disadvantages here. Okay, so this is one picture for application virtualization. Fine. Next, okay, next we have the network virtualization. But before coming to network virtualization, let me just go through the other types because this will take a bit, this is quite time consuming. So let us go through some other types. Next is the desktop virtualization. Okay. Okay, application virtualization, is it clear to all? Understood? Samajh aaya? Say something. You want me to repeat again? Application virtualization.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, see. Okay, so what is desktop virtualization? See, just like you can virtualize an application, right? Just like you can virtualize an application, means you can create a logical view of your application. It is somewhere else, but you are using it somewhere else. Physically, it is present somewhere else, but you are logically, it will be present on your system. Okay, you are creating a logical view of the application. So just like that, desktops can also, have an abstract view or a logical view. Okay, so let's understand here. Desktop virtualization allows the user's operating system to be remotely stored on a server in the data center. It allows the user to access their desktop virtually from any location by a different machine. Users who want specific operating systems other than Windows Server will need to have a virtual desktop. Main benefits of desktop virtualization are user mobility, portability, easy management, easy management of software installation, updates, and patches. So see, desktop virtualization. Okay, more so that you understand. Okay, so that I don't have to repeat again. Okay, just try to understand. If you don't understand, again ask me. So desktop virtualization, somewhere you will also get the term client server virtualization. It's the same thing. Okay, desktop virtualization is also known as the client server virtualization. So it is that technology, okay, that isolates an operating system instance from the computer that is used to access it. Okay, so so you can, you can suppose you own a desktop on a cloud. Okay, so if you own a desktop on a cloud, you can use any device to access it, and you see the same data and applications no matter from where you connect. If you own a desktop on the cloud, you can access it. Okay, you can use any device from any remote location to access that desktop which is residing on the cloud. So any application, any data that is in that desktop can be used on your system, and you can be using any system to access that desktop on your system. Okay, so basically virtualized desktops are hosted on a remote central server, okay, which could be a cluster of computers. Desktop virtualization will allow users to maintain the individual desktops on a single central server. So there can be multiple customers, multiple clients who have their own desktops. So they are, what service are they taking? So every customer, suppose I have 10 customers here. So each of the 10 customers, okay, I am the cloud service provider. So each of the 10 customers, I am maintaining, for each of the 10 customers, I have a server. And in that server, I am maintaining 10 different desktops for each of the 10 customers. So in those desktops, you can have any data or any application installed. Okay. Sitting at your respective houses or in your offices, you can access the desktop that you own in the cloud. Just like application, right? Here you can own the desktop. So your desktop will basically reside on the cloud, on some remote server. Okay, so all files, all related files and documents, okay, all applications, whatever are residing in that desktop is yours. You know, sitting in your location with your system, your system has got some other operating system. So if you are not willing to work on that system, okay, suppose you have Windows Server, so you're not willing to work on that system, so you can own a desktop, in the cloud. You need not store any other operating system in your located, in your hardware. Okay, what you can do is you can own a desktop in the cloud, okay, and there you have all the data stored there. So whenever you want it, you can access it through your system. Okay, so data and files are not here. In this case, the data and files are not stored on the computer that you are using. Okay, that means not on your system. Instead, the data is stored on the cloud, and we access the virtualized desktops via a browser. Understood? So desktop virtualization will allow the user to maintain their individual desktops on a central server or a cloud. Users can then connect to this central server via internet or the local network, which we call the intranet. So using, of course, internet is the backbone. Okay. So you need internet connection to get connected to that local server, to that remote server from your local system. So once you get connected via a browser, then you can access your desktop irrespective of in whichever location you are currently. Understood or not? That is what desktop virtualization is. Okay. So these, as you can see here, these are the servers and this is the client machine. Okay, you are here. You own a desktop somewhere. Okay, so desktop means you have an operating system instance. Okay, you have a desktop means what? You have an operating system instance. Okay, so you have your operating system instance somewhere here, and then you are accessing that desktop, okay, that virtual desktop on your system to, you know, work with the files and the data. Clear? Okay, next we come to server virtualization. I hope you are understanding. Say something at least, otherwise I cannot proceed. See, if you don't respond, I cannot proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Please respond when I
Yes,
ask.
ma'am.
Yeah, please respond when I ask something. Okay. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult, you know, to proceed. Anyway, next is operating system virtualization. So I told you already. So we have not come to hypervisors right now. Of course, you know what an hypervisor is. So hypervisor is that software program, okay, that enables virtualization. It is that software which enables virtualization. Okay, if you want a virtualized environment, it is important that you have a hypervisor on your hardware, maybe directly on top of your hardware installed, or maybe on top of the operating system. Okay, but it is important that you have a hypervisor. So okay, so what is operating system virtualization? So as I said, hypervisors, I told you in the previous class that hypervisors are of two types, mainly type 0 and type 1. Okay, so we'll get into the various types in details. Okay, I'll explain the hypervisor and its types in details using diagrams in the next class. But for the time being, just understand that type 2 hypervisor. Okay, the type 2 hypervisor, which is nothing but an application which is installed on your underlying operating system. Okay, that is called type 2 hypervisor. So you have your system, you are running, you are using some operating system on your system. Okay, on top of that operating system, just like you install any application software, you can install a hypervisor here also. For example, the VMware workstation, which I was, you know, the VMware workstation or the virtual box. So these are examples of type 2 hypervisors. So here these are actually suites. Okay, these are actually suites which will help you create virtualized environment on your system. Okay, so but they are just like application softwares. Okay, so just like you install any other software on your system on top of your operating system. So just like that, you can install VirtualBox or say Microsoft. You have Microsoft Hyper-V. You have the Citrix. You have Zen servers. You have VMware ESXi. Okay, so these are the various hypervisors. From Microsoft, you have Hyper-V. From you have Citrix. You have Zen servers. From VMware, you have ESXi. So these are various types of hypervisors which needs to be installed, okay, on top of your operating system, okay, in case of type 2. When I'm talking about type 2 hypervisors. So type 2 hypervisors are those which act very much like application softwares which are installed on top of the underlying operating system. Okay, so operating system virtualization is nothing but type 2 hypervisor only. So however the type 2 hypervisor works, that is what operating system virtualization is. Okay, so see here, it is also called the operating system, OS level virtualization is a type of virtualization technology which works on the OS layer. So here the kernel of an OS allows more than one isolated user space instances to exist. Such instances are called containers or software containers or virtualization engines. In other words, OS kernel will run a single operating system and provide that operating system's functionality to replicate on each of the isolated partitions. So what are we doing here is, this is the diagram, okay? So as you can see, this is the hardware. On top of the hardware, you have your underlying operating system, okay? On top of the underlying operating system, you have your, virtualization suite. Okay, so VMM is the hypervisor. So in that suite, when I say suite comes with a suite comes with a lot of packages and features. Okay, it comes with a lot of tools and features. So in that suite, I'm using VMware because we'll be only dealing with VMware here according to the syllabus. So in VMware, we have the hypervisor ESXi. Okay, so this is the hypervisor. Okay, virtual machine management, VMM. So here what is done is you install the hypervisor, and what you do is you create instances. You have your operating system here, right? And then what you'll do is you will create partitions of your operating system. Like you will create separate instances of your single operating system, and you will load those instances on the different virtual machines. Okay, the virtual machines actually they are inside containers, which we call containers. Okay, so they are inside containers. So inside one container there will be one virtual machine. So like that, a server can have any number of virtual machines depending on how, depending on the hardware resources. अगर तुम्हारे पास जितने भी hardware resources होंगे, ठीक है, तुम्हारे पास जितने भी hardware resources होंगे, CPU हो, memory हो, network हो, स्टोरेज हो, जितना भी कैपेसिटी है ऑफ हार्डवेयर रिसोर्सेज, उस हिसाब से हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वर्चुअल मशीन्स है ना ऊपर डिप्लॉय करते हैं. और वो वर्चुअल मशीन्स क्या करेंगे, अल्टीमेटली द वर्चुअल मशीन्स दैट आर डिप्लॉयड ऑन योर हार्डवेयर will make use of the resources that is physically present in your hardware, in your system. Okay, तो जितने भी तुम्हारे पास हार्डवेयर होंगे, जितने भी कैपेसिटी है, जितना भी क्वांटिटी है, वही यूटिलाइज होंगे इन वर्चुअल मशीन्स में. ठीक है, सो you cannot say ma'am how many number of virtual machines can reside on a server. You cannot say that. एक भी हो सकता है, 100 भी हो सकता है. It depends on what is the capacity of your hardware. तुम्हारे हार्डवेयर में कितने रिसोर्सेस है, रिसोर्सेस की कैपेसिटी कितना है, उस हिसाब से. सपोज आई हैव 1000 GB स्टोरेज, ठीक है, तो मैंने एक वर्चुअल मशीन बनाया, उसमें मैंने ऑलरेडी 500 GB दे दिया, तो मेरे पास सिर्फ 500 GB बाकी है. ठीक है, तो उस हिसाब से सेकंड वर्चुअल मशीन मैंने बिठाया, यहाँ पे मैंने 300 GB दे दिया स्टोरेज, तो मेरे पास अभी 200 स्टोरेज ही बाकी है, 200 GB का. ठीक है, और एक सिस्टम मैंने दे दिया, उसमें मैंने 200 GB दे दिया. अभी मेरे पास तो और है ही नहीं स्टोरेज, है ना. सो आई एम रनिंग आउट ऑफ स्टोरेज नाउ. That means what? If I am, if I want to deploy another virtual machine, for that I'll have need to scale up my storage capacity. मुझे और स्टोरेज चाहिए होगा मेरे अंडरलाइंग हार्डवेयर पे, ताकि मैं उस I can create instances, I can partition. ठीक है, मैं ब्रेक कर सकती हूँ, ताकि उस स्टोरेज को मैं ब्रेक करूँ और मैं दूसरे वर्चुअल मशीन्स में फीड अप करूँ. ठीक है, सो how many virtual machines can reside on your hardware? It depends on the capacity of the resources that you have on your system, on your your hardware. Clear? So here what happens is, in operating system virtualization, you partition the operating system and you feed them into separate virtual machines. Okay, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि ये जो है ये host OS होता है, but यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि ये जो है ये guest operating system बुलाते हैं. और यहाँ in these virtual machines you can have the guest operating system, on top of which you can have your application softwares running. So in single words, the OS kernel, okay, runs a single operating system. यहाँ पे एक ही operating system है kernel में, ठीक है, but that operating system has been partitioned into many blocks. Okay, we have created multiple partitions of the operating system, and then we have fed fed it to the different virtual machines which are deployed on top of that system. Clear? This is what operating system virtualization is. And type 2 hypervisors, the other name for type 2 hypervisor is operating system virtualization. Okay, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि what it does is it will allow isolated user space. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे जैसे इसी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम को अगर मैं यूज करूँ तो मैं अकेले यूज करती, लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ कि इसी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का मैंने सेपरेट इंस्टेंसेस बनाया हुआ है. ठीक है, separate instances बनाया हुआ है inside multiple virtual machines. So now this single operating system can be used by multiple users simultaneously. कोई इस machine को access करेगा, कोई इसको करेगा, कोई इसको करेगा. So as you can see, this single operating system is now being accessed by multiple users with the help of these various instances that are being created. Okay, this is what operating system virtualization is. Next, we come to server virtualization. Okay, so what is server virtualization? So server virtualization में क्या है? Server virtualization, when you want to make a physical system, when you suppose you want to a computer है and you want to convert it to a server, तो server हम तब करते हैं जब हमें बहुत सारा बहुत सारे सर्विसेज को सर्विसेज हम लोग को प्रोवाइड करना है, तब हम लोग सर्वर बनाते हैं. मतलब हम लोग को बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज चाहिए होते हैं. व्हेन यू वांट टू कन्वर्ट योर सिस्टम, योर लोकल सिस्टम इनटू अ सर्वर, यू वुड वांट मच रिसोर्सेज. ठीक है, जो रिसोर्सेज होंगे तुम्हारे पास, प्रोसेसिंग स्पीड बहुत होना चाहिए, सीपीयू बहुत होना चाहिए, फिर रैम रोम, ओके, नेटवर्क कैपेसिटी, स्टोरेज बहुत होना चाहिए, सो दैट यूजिंग दैट सर्वर यू कैन सर्व the other systems, right? तो ये होता है बेसिक सर्वर का. सर्वर का मतलब क्या होता है कि सर्विस दे. तो ऑब्वियसली मैं चाहूंगी कि मेरा जो सिस्टम है वो बहुत सारे सिस्टम्स, दूसरे सिस्टम्स को सर्विस दे. तो अगर तुम दूसरे सिस्टम्स को सर्विस देना चाहते हो तो तुम्हारे पास उतना सर्विस होना चाहिए. यू शुड बी एबल टू प्रोवाइड दैट मच सर्विस, राइट? तो इसीलिए इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी हैव मच रिसोर्सेज ऑन अ सर्वर. तो अभी क्या होता है कि सपोज you have suppose 100 clients, okay? You have 100 clients. For 100 clients, to serve those 100 clients, one option is you can own 100 systems and you can convert those systems into servers. Okay, so servers बनाने के लिए, as I said, resources बहुत होना चाहिए, और resources जो होते हैं वो free में नहीं आते हैं. You have to pay for those resources. Yes, so if you have 100 clients with you and you want to serve the 100 clients with your servers, then you'll have to own 100 different servers, 100 different systems. तुम्हें खरीदने होंगे, you have to buy 100 different systems. You have to convert them into servers. You have to, get as much resources as possible so that the client can make the best use of every, each server that has been assigned to them. Lekin just imagine the cost that will incur when you are, using 100 servers to serve 100 clients. Can that be an efficient way? Never. Instead, what you can do is, instead of buying or owning multiple servers to serve multiple clients, that many number of clients, what you can do is, if you have 100 clients, suppose you have 10 servers, you have bought 10 servers, okay? तो resources जो भी चाहिए, accordingly you have just set up जो भी setup चाहिए, you have organized it, okay? You have done all the setup accordingly. So what you can do is, एक सर्वर पकड़ो, ठीक है, एक सर्वर पकड़ो, take one server, उसको उसी सर्वर के जो रिसोर्सेज होंगे या उस सर्वर का है ना, उस सर्वर का जो हार्डवेयर रिसोर्सेज होंगे उसको वर्चुअलाइज कर दो. वर्चुअलाइज कर दो मतलब it's given here, the central server or the physical server is divided into multiple different virtual servers by changing the identity number, processes, etc. So each system can operate its own operating system and in isolate manner. तो ये जो single server है, इस server का ही हम लोगों ने, so this is a physical server, but we will create logical view of this server. We will create an abstract layer of this server. तो हम लोगों ने एक यहाँ पे जो है hypervisor जो होगा इसको virtualize कर देगा, ठीक है, इसको वर्चुअलाइज कर देगा. इसी सर्वर को, ये जो फिजिकल सर्वर प्रेजेंट है फिजिकली, इसको हम लोग अभी सॉफ्टवेयर वर्जन बना देंगे इसी सर्वर का, ठीक है. सो दिस वाज अ फिजिकल सर्वर, बट सपोज यहाँ पे आई नीड ओरेकल सर्वर्स, सीक्वल सर्वर्स, एप्लीकेशन सर्वर्स, ईमेल सर्वर्स, फाइल सर्वर्स, प्रिंटर सर्वर्स, एक्सेट्रा. So if I need this many servers, I don't think I need to own this many servers, physical servers. What I can do is I can use one server only, और उसी server के capacity को use करके हम लोग उसको virtualize करेंगे. Virtualize करके we will have our different virtual machines, okay, which has been these virtual machines will behave as one servers each. Okay, तो हम लोगों ने क्या किया, जो भी सर्वर कैपेसिटी थे, ठीक है, तो उसको हम लोगों ने क्या किया, virtualize करके in different virtual machines को feed up कर दिया, so that each of these virtual machines can act as one server. Okay, so it is basically partitioning of the physical server into several virtual servers. That is the basic idea. And why do we do this? In order to maximize the server resources. ठीक है, सर्वर रिसोर्सेज को मैक्सिमाइज करने के लिए हम लोग ये करते हैं, वरना इसी सर्वर को एक ही क्लाइंट को देना, और इसी सर्वर, सपोज इसी सर्वर को मैंने एप्लीकेशन सर्वर बना दिया, ठीक है, then what about the other servers? Again I'll have to buy a different computer, again I'll have to get the setup ready for that particular server. फिर मैं उसको सपोज SQL सर्वर बना दिया, डेटाबेस सर्वर मैंने बना दिया, फिर सपोज मुझे एक ईमेल सर्वर का जरूरत पड़े, फिर मैंने खरीदा, फिर मुझे सेटअप करना पड़ेगा. सो जस्ट इमेजिन द कॉस्ट इनकर्ड. ओके, सो इंस्टेड जो हमारे पास सर्वर है, फिजिकल सर्वर, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द कैपेसिटी, वी कैन ऑप्टिमाइज द रिसोर्सेज रिसाइडिंग इन दैट सर्वर by virtualizing the environment. So we can have our own virtual machines on top, deployed on top of this. Okay, and each virtual machine now can act as different servers depending on the client need, whatever. Okay, so this is what server virtualization is. Okay,
Yes.
okay, so in short, on one computer now, on one physical computer now, you can have multiple servers. Okay, so this is what server virtualization is. Okay, next is storage virtualization. So I'll just give you an example here. Okay, storage virtualization, actually it's a deep concept, okay, but we will not get deep now. Okay, there are many things to know when it comes to storage virtualization, but we will not discuss now. Okay, we'll discuss it in some other class in the appropriate timing. Okay, abhi समझाने से नहीं समझ आएगा. So I'll just give an overview on storage virtualization. So just as you have seen, virtualization of application, desktop, operating system, server, storage, the physical storage can also be virtualized. Okay, how can you do that? You see, of course, I have given a diagram here. You have, suppose you have 3 physical storages. Okay, you have 3 physical storages in 3 different locations, or maybe they can be in the same location also, doesn't matter. Okay, location doesn't matter here, but you have 3 number of different physical storages where data resides. Okay, so abhi kya hai ki, what we'll do is, in storage virtualization, the data from the various physical storage, okay, they are pulled together and are stored in one physical storage. You need data, you are working with some application and you are in need of some data. So instead of accessing, you know that some data reside in one physical storage, the other resides in the other physical storage. So instead of accessing the multiple physical storage, is it not better that all the data resides in one place, right? That is a better option always, right? So instead of having multiple physical storage for storing data, all the data are now pulled together in a single physical storage. Okay, now when a client requests for the data, so there will be IO request from the client. Okay, the client will be giving some inputs, giving some inputs or receiving some output. So there will be requests from the client, right? So in that case, what happens is the client will now interact with this storage. Okay, so here we have pulled all the physical storages and we have created one single instance of the storage, and it is this storage which will serve the client. Okay, so any request coming from the client will come to this, it will be received by this particular physical storage, and then if it has that data in it, it will immediately send it back to the client as a response. Or if it could not locate it in its inside it, then it can request the physical storages. Okay, जो data है अगर यहाँ पे नहीं है, अगर है then it will immediately respond back to the client, and if the data is not in here, it will look into the other physical storages, it will get the data from the storages and then it will reply back to the client. So इतना जो back end में जो इतना काम हो रहा है, the client will never have any idea. For the client, it is this single physical storage which is, providing, which is, serving the client. But actually, this is not the case. Okay, there are multiple physical storage involved. Okay. So how is this possible? VM, virtual machines does this. Okay, virtual machine is that software which is responsible for pulling physical storages. It is not only responsible for pulling of physical storages, but it also looks after the capacity. Capacity matlab कि